The following content is explicit. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome back to the Red Rum Podcasters. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Natasha. I feel like it's been forever.
Yeah, we didn't record over the holiday week.
Yeah.
So that's why it feels like forever.
Like, man, oh, remind me, I have your daughter's birthday presents in the house.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my kids got older.
Yes.
Since the last podcast.
Yep.
Now,
1 and 3, right?
Yeah, 1 and 3.
Yeah, so I still got a month, and then mine will be 12. So.
Yeah.
My birthday's coming up. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, suckers. Actually, if you're hearing this now, it's going to be like 1 week, suckers.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Yeah, something like that. It'll be like 2 days. 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on a Tuesday.
I expect some happy birthdays.
Club going up.
I know. We're not gonna say how old I am, but I'm getting up there.
Are you younger than my husband?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, by at least 4 years.
Your older sister is closer in age to him.
She's only 11 months older than me, but yeah, closer.
Okay.
By about a year. We're ironically Irish twins.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and get into it, and we'll just save all of the housekeeping for the end.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
I apologize. I do have a slight sinus infection, so if I sound a little
actually, I don't
nasally,
think you sound too bad. I think you sound pretty good.
Yeah, it's mostly in my throat.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I know. My husband has it like all up in his is like all like head, and I just got slight sore throat and a cough. So I apologize if you hear me coughing.
Oh, I always cough, so it's all right. I just usually edit it out.
All right, we're going to get into this. So, October 5th, 2015, police were called to a home in Lothian. It's Lothian.
Lothian?
Lothian?
That's how I'd put it. I don't know.
Lothian, Maryland, on a report of a suicide. 42-year-old Anthony Anastasi took the police to the master bedroom of her home, where they found the body of her 40-year-old husband, Anthony Anastasi, with a gunshot wound to his head and a handgun lying beside him.
Okay.
While at the house and investigating, the police discovered the body of a 25-year-old female. Her name was Jacqueline Riggs, in a basement bedroom.
Okay, so they get called for the husband's suicide.
Yes.
They come to investigate the suicide.
Yes.
And find another body in the basement?
Yes.
Okay. Make sure I was following you there.
Jacqueline had been stabbed multiple times in what had clearly been a violent and bloody attack. When Anne-Marie was questioned, she seemed surprised when she learned of Jacqueline Riggs' death. She said that her husband must have murdered his mistress and then went upstairs and killed himself.
Right.
You want to know the kicker?
Go for it.
The ballistic tests showed that the gun that was found next to Anthony was not the gun that killed him.
Sucker! Oh, rookie mistake.
He was shot with a .380, but the gun next to his body was a .45.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
And when tested, Anne-Marie's clothes and hands tested positive for GSR.
Oh my gosh. This is like open, shut.
GSR is gunshot residue. So I told you this is a very straightforward case. It's kind of the backstory is a little bit kind of weird. So as I just said that, now for a little backstory. Anthony was having an affair with Jacqueline.
Okay.
And moved her into the marital home. So the bedroom that she was stabbed in was actually her bedroom that he had in his home that he shared with his wife.
So the wife knew about this? She would have had to have.
Okay, let me just get just a little farther down and you're going to understand.
Okay.
Okay. So he moved her into the marital home just a few months before the murders.
Okay.
It appeared that at one point, the three living in the home was in an active three-way relationship. Throuple!
Ah, man, lucky bastard.
Yeah.
Damn. I need a room in my basement.
So the married cuppy,
Cuppy.
the married cuppy
Bubble guppies.
Bubble guppies. My husband loved that show whenever M was really into it.
I loved it.
The married couple had 5 children.
Total.
Okay. And when the police went through Anne Marie's phone, they found text messages between one of their daughters, aged 13, and her 18-year-old boyfriend.
Okay. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm waiting for the rest of that sentence there to be the messages between. I'm waiting to see what it is before I give my reaction.
So the boyfriend's name was Gabriel Struss.
Okay.
That discussed how Struss had to be the one to carry out the murders and how to do it.
Okay.
Okay, but can we talk for a second?
I thought it was going to be way worse. Like, I thought that it was going to be, not only was it he's dating the 13-year-old, but they found, like, naked pictures on the, you know what I mean? Like, not only is it underage, but then it would be child pornography. That's, like, a whole different level.
She's 13 dating an 18-year-old.
Yeah, which, I know, not cool. But I just wanted to see if it was, like, nudie pics that he then was in possession of child pornography and then could distribute.
I mean, let's be honest. Probably.
So, yeah. I was just expecting that
She's
to be
dating an 18-year-old.
An issue.
At 13. You will notice, and I mentioned this again at the end, I do not have a name for the daughter because her files are sealed.
Well, yeah.
Because she was a juvenile.
A bug just flew on my titty. He tried to go in my pocket.
But yeah. Sorry. That's just...
I guess it's just not as surprising to me given their living arrangements. They're clearly a little loose on their morals, so I wasn't as surprised.
To me, it's not even that the parents let it happen, but like for him as a 18-year-old, technically man, why do you want anything to do with a 13-year-old little girl?
Okay, this is going to be really horrible. I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. Because it's not. It's wrong. She is a minor and he is an adult. It's wrong. Okay? That's where I stand. That being said, when I was 13, I was the same height as I am now. I was like a C-cup bra. I had a big old bubble butt. And I looked like I was like 17 years old at 13. So I'm just saying, if he approached her, I can understand that.
But that's not even, like, body is not my problem. At 13, you were still a child, mind-wise.
I was raised that you better man the fuck up or get out. Like, I took care of myself.
But at 13, you're still a fucking child. And no matter what, if they had sex, it's rape.
Yeah, true.
She cannot consent.
Correct.
Ugh.
I personally have been in the situation where someone approached me when I was around that age. When I was 14, okay, TMI, totally disclaimer, I was a fucking child, okay? And I believe I was 14, and I would go to church activities with a friend of mine. And our youth leader was a 25-ish-year-old man who laid a big one on me one day.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's fucking nasty.
Yeah, so I've been there.
Like, ugh.
Yeah. And I never went back.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either.
And then it was really awkward because, like, to be honest, I have not, like, told hardly anybody that. I'm not going to say, I don't even know if I can remember the person's name. But I never mentioned it. I just quit going. And then when people would ask me, like, oh, where have you been? Blah, blah. Like, I didn't know what to tell them because I didn't want to say anything. It was a very awkward situation for me. So I totally understand. For those of you out there who have been in these situations, whether you were a child or you were an adult, because I have been in both situations and not reported it, I understand where you're coming from. I'm not necessarily saying that it is right. I believe that if you don't say something, they will probably continue to do what they're doing to others.
Like
I probably should have said something, but
let me get into this. For me, that's a little different because that was you didn't ask for that.
Correct.
She's actively, openly dating an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
That's
still
my
wrong.
issue.
I mean, it's still wrong.
So anyways, let's get back into this. So when questioned by the police, Gabriel admitted that he murdered Anthony and Jacqueline. All three, so Anne Marie, Gabriel, and the daughter, were arrested and charged with first and second degree murder. Anne Marie entered an Alford plea, which means she's maintaining her innocence, but recognizes that there's enough evidence against her to secure a conviction. And it's just the same as a guilty plea. It's just saying that she's not taking responsibility, basically. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but I know you have enough evidence against me that I'm going to get convicted, but I'm not going to say I did it.
That doesn't make it.
But it's all to avoid a trial.
Yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Anne Marie's defense attorney presented a case of abuse within the home, stating that Anne Marie had lived a life of, quote, constant abuse, beating, and threats against her and her children, end quote. The judge stated that while he believed abuse may have taken place, the premeditated nature of the murders was, quote, not a momentary reaction to an abusive action.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be. I mean, they clearly thought it out. They planned it. They executed it. Now, if it was something along the lines of, wife's in the middle of getting her ass beat, or the kid's in the middle of getting her ass beat, and say 18-year-old homeboy just has to have a gun in his, pocket because that's what the cool kids do, and it happens in that type of scenario, I can understand that a little bit more. But this was clearly
that's more
out.
like an act of rage, or like more of a reaction than a all right, let's text about
like
it first.
Heat of the moment. What's the word for that? It's like a crime of passion.
Yes.
Ha-ha! Woo!
On May 9th, 2017, Anne Marie was sentenced to 60 years in prison. And at the time of Anne Marie's sentencing, it was reported that Anne Marie gave Gabriel the gun when he came to the house on October 4th, which was the night before she called the cops.
I know somebody whose birthday is October 4th. If you're listening, hey. I think they listen.
So she gave him the gun the night before, and he had entered the master bedroom and shot Anthony while he slept. So he had no way of, even trying to defend himself.
Yeah.
Which is partially probably why until they tested the caliber of the guns, that they got away with saying it was suicide at first.
So I have a question. Sorry, I was like, I keep forgetting these people can't see my face. Confused old face. They say the boyfriend killed him.
Yes.
Okay. But the wife is the one that had the gunshot residue on her hands.
That was never really addressed.
Oh.
From what I have read, and it's never addressed whether Gabriel had gunshot residue on him or not.
So I feel like this was one of those situations like, either way, we got him, so fuck it.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
I mean, Gabriel admitted to it, and then she's got enough evidence against her between the text messages and everything else that she's also a part of the whole plot.
I'm just saying, he could have gotten out of this.
Oh, easily.
Been like, I decided at the last minute I wasn't going to do it. There's no gunshot.
Herself.
Yeah. He could have got off scot-free.
Probably.
Sucker.
He then went downstairs to the basement and stabbed Jacqueline over 20 times.
Holy shit!
And with other knife wounds and cuts amounting to over 80 wounds total to her body.
That is the definition of overkill.
So 20 total, full-blown, stab it in ya, pull it out.
Yeah.
And then altogether 80 between stab it in you, pull it out, we're fighting, I cut you.
Yeah.
Little nicks and all that.
Wow.
Gabriel was described as a, quote, weak-minded young man.
You think?
End quote.
Although I think if he was a weak-minded young man, he probably would have been predatory.
Yeah.
Just saying.
He was also sentenced to 60 years in jail. And his attorney said that he was manipulated by Anne Marie and her daughter into killing the victims. And he believed the two were abused inside the household. And like I said earlier, since the daughter was only 13 at the time.
Oh my God, the irony of the fact that he, quote unquote, killed him because he was abusive. He's abusing her. Hello, pot, meet kettle.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So like I said earlier, since the daughter was only 13 at the time, she was charged as a juvenile, which is why we don't have a name for her, as well as any sentencing for her, because her court records are sealed.
Well, I mean, even if they threw her in prison, she would have, or jail, whatever, juvie, she would have gotten out at the age of 18 anyway.
You can be in juvie up until you're 21.
Okay, well, either way, she would have been out at some point with no...
So even if she got out, say she got out at 18, she got 5 years.
I'm just saying by then she could get out, change her name.
I want to say I've heard before where they've went through their juvenile sentence, but their actual sentence was longer, so they went to adult prison after
Yeah,
they were
I think I've heard a few
like after
that.
they've like aged out of juvie.
Yeah.
So I don't exactly know how long she got, what her total involvement is because of her being a minor at the time.
With just being a facilitator and not taking part in the activities, I feel as though she would have gotten juvie up into when she aged out and then was granted parole or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would still call that parole.
Yeah, she could be on parole. Like, you can be on parole for
Well, I didn't know
years.
if aging out of juvie was the same as being paroled.
It can be.
Okay.
So, like, you can age out of juvie and then, okay, you've aged out of juvie. We're not going to send you to big people jail.
Yeah.
But you're going to be...
There's a lot of people that are like that.
But you're going to be on... What do they call it?
They could still have the registry, well, depending on the charges.
But they can, like, she can serve the rest of her sentence on parole after she's aged out of juvie. Just like if you did good time, like if you got out for good behavior, but you had like 5 years left on your sentence, you could do 5 years of parole.
You want to know a good example of this that we should cover soon? Ed Kemper. He shot both his grandparents while he was a minor and ended up getting out.
Yeah.
I mean, shot them cold blood and didn't even try to hide. He was just like, I just wanted to know what it felt like.
Yep.
And that was it. And then they let him walk free.
I've heard of that case.
It is. I actually just listened to another podcast about it this afternoon, and I was like, holy crap, man. Like, this is insane. Like, it's insane. But, whew, okay. So just to make sure that I get my point out there, I am not okay with children being with adults. Not okay at all. Even if it's the age of consent. Doesn't count. Just doesn't count. You knock that person up and they're at the age of consent, it does not matter. We just know for a fact it does not matter.
Yep.
Okay, so that being said, let's head on over to the intervention.
Let's do this.
Welcome to this week's Intervention. Today's topic is popular Halloween candies. Number 1,
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Number 2,
Hershey's Chocolate.
Number 3,
Snickers.
Number 4,
Twix.
and Number 5,
Milky Way.
And welcome back from the intervention. So, Natasha, what do you have? Do you have spooky?
I got some spooky, baby. It's spooky season.
I know. I just have to say this really quick. I am loving this weather that we're having right now.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It just makes me want to take the girls to the park every single day, even though I know I mentally cannot handle it at the moment.
If I wasn't so fat, I would go on walks because it's great outside, but instead I'll just chill on the porch.
If I lived in town, I would go on walks. Like, I'd take the girls on walks, but I live in the country where we would get hit by a car in 2 seconds.
I struggle because I think I've listened to too many of this podcasts or something.
Yes.
Where I'm scared to go by myself.
Granted,
who's going to pick up my fat ass and throw me in a car, but...
So, there is a park that is close to my house that I like to go to, and they have recently redone it, which makes it seem a little less sketch. Fucking sketch. So, I used to go out there a couple summers ago with just M. It was just me and M, and we would go out walking with my sister-in-law and my nieces. And there was times where I'd get there before them, so I would start walking. They've got, like, this trail, like, through the woods and stuff. And I would start walking it. And there was one day that I started walking before they got there. And this big-ass group of teenage boys was behind me. Like, I mean, they were, like, a decent ways behind me, but scared me enough to where, like, called my mom and was on the phone with my mom in case something happened to me. Because that's whenever the TikTok sound, and it was like, R.I.P. that pussy, ayy! Like, it was like a big TikTok sound going on, and they were shouting it in my direction.
Ugh.
And I did not feel comfortable. There was one morning that I took Em out there by myself when she was maybe 2. There was someone in a truck, sitting in their truck. And then I'm playing with Em on the playground, and I'm side eye and
Yeah.
hardcore, making sure that I'm safe. And he got out of his truck and went into the bathroom. And as soon as he went into the bathroom, and he looked sketch
Yeah.
whenever I saw him get out of his truck. So as soon as he went into the bathroom, I scooped him up and I threw her in the car,
Yeah.
strewing super freaking fast, and left because I was so freaked out about it. I sent my location to my mother-in-law,
Yeah.
especially after listening to so much true crime and stuff like that. Things like that scare me, which in the season that we're in now, and now that they've kind of redone that park, it seems a little less sketch out there.
Yeah. It's
And
been really nice.
It's a nice enough park now that with this nice weather, there's other families out there,
yeah.
and I would feel much more comfortable.
When I went out there wasn't anybody out there, and I'm surprised that me and one of our listeners didn't make a baby out there.
Oh,
Hello. They know who they are.
which trail did you go on, or were you just
There was a bench.
or were you fucking on the playground equipment? My
My
kids played on that shit, man.
It was way before they redid it. I'm sure it's not even the same equipment.
Well,
I'm
no,
pretty
but
sure.
my kids played on the old playground equipment.
Oh, it's washed since then.
I hope our listener does not have any STDs.
Hey, I don't have any STDs.
Okay, then our listener doesn't. I just don't want my kids touching that shit.
Just saying. I get checked.
Kids play on that shit, man.
So that's not the first playground I've been a part of.
Well, I will say this, though. It cracks me up.
Come on, guys. If you're going to fool around on the playground, have some decency. We had some decency. You throw it away. Have some decency.
Where'd you fuck in the park?
Which park?
The one that my kids go to.
Just don't send them down the slide.
Oh, God.
So glad that human penises, I mean, they're gross, but they're not
They're
corkscrews.
gross?
Yeah, they are. Just don't look at it. Don't look it in the eye, Kristen. Don't look it in the eye.
I ain't look. Okay. So because we're on this subject.
Oh, I'm going to have to do a lot of editing here.
Yeah, you are. Just because I think it's hilarious. I was watching this show, and this guy was interested in this girl, and he said, I wouldn't mind licking her balloon knot.
Huh?
That's what I thought at first. I was like, what did he say? So I
Is
rewound
that like a
it.
nipple?
He said balloon knot. Think of the titty on a balloon after you tie it.
Yeah.
It looks like a butthole.
I'm probably going to leave that one in. Oh, jeez. I just heard like starfish.
Yeah, the chocolate starfish.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Did you know you can mold your asshole and make and send it off to a company and they make chocolates out of it? So you can literally eat your own asshole.
Why the fuck do you know that?
The shit that pops up on my social media, man.
Oh, this listener I'm talking about, he's just going to have a heyday.
But I've heard it called the brown eye. I've heard it called the chocolate starfish. I have never heard it called the balloon knot, and I am now never referencing it to anything but
Ugh. Sorry, I'm not.
the balloon knot.
If you want to do it to me, cool. I'm not doing it to you. Whatever. Whatever, float your boat.
But he was drunk. Like this guy in the show, he's like, he's from Canada. Is this a Canadian thing?
I love our Canadians.
Canadians, let us know. Is this
Yeah.
is this a Canadian term, the balloon knot, or
Yeah, specifically Linnea.
do you guys call it the brown eye or the chocolate starfish, or is it strictly the balloon knot?
To be continued. Anyway,
Sorry, we went off on a
Whew.
tangent.
that was a little rough.
Half that's gonna get cut out.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay. Well, now back to the story. I chose the real life Exorcist.
Oh, I think I've heard this one.
It's actually pretty short. It was shorter than I thought it was going to be. My next one that we cover next week is probably going to be it's going to be fucking awesome. It's my birthday week.
Is
But
it gonna be
anyway.
longer?
Not sure.
Exorcist.
Yep.
Let me puke pea soup all over you.
Ew. So, they say that the original Exorcist movie was influenced by the real-life Maryland exorcism of a 14-year-old Roland Doe. I think it was I think I put him in there as Ronald first.
Ronald.
Or Robbie Mannheim in 1949, as well as the mortifying Loudon exorcisms of 1634. Novelist William Peter Blatty heard about this incident in Maryland while he was attending Georgetown University. Several news articles held anonymous claims of an alleged possession and exorcism in the mid-1949 year. One account stated that 48 people witnessed the exorcism, 9 of which were Jesuits, which I read as G-suits.
G-suits? Walking up in our G-suits.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the difference is, why they specifically segregated out the Jesuits versus the 48 other people. But Father Walter Halloran was said to be the last surviving witness to the exorcism.
I'm not gonna lie, whenever you first said Jesuits, I thought you said Jesuits.
Jez-
It just kind of coincided with our last conversation.
Jesus. We're
We are
We're batting 1,000.
sexually frustrated today.
I even took care of it before I came over here. Jeez.
Why do you think I'm so excited to have my Fridays back, man?
Ah.
I'm home alone.
Lucky. I'd say I have an hour every day after work. All right. Robbie was raised in a German Lutheran family. At a young age, he expressed an interest in Ouija boards, which fuck that shit. That's the rule. You don't fuck with no Ouija board. You don't touch no Ouija board. No go on the Ouija boards. I was very proud of H-Man. He stayed the night at a friend's house last weekend for a birthday party and sleepover, to which the friend's mother informed me the next day, yeah, I thought it, because I was talking about spooky stuff in the podcast. She's like, yeah, my daughter tried to get H-Man to play with a Ouija board. And H-Man goes, nope, nope, nope. I want nothing to do with that. Get it away from me. Go away. Like, he was like, no. And I was like, good boy.
Ouija boards are never a good idea.
Yeah, ever,
the
ever,
fact
ever.
that they sold these as a
Child,
toy
yes.
is ridiculous.
Yes.
Because that shit sticks with you.
Yeah, you can't get rid. Trust me. Trust me. When something gets you, it's hard to get rid of it.
Well, and like, it's not only that, but you don't know. Ugh.
Yeah, you don't know.
You can't see it. You don't know what it is.
And it could be pretending to be something else.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Nope. No,
Yeah,
thank
so we-
you.
Although I do now have a Games After Dark spooky games like Light as a Feather and Bloody Mary and all of that I would like Kristen to do with me. We will not ever have a Ouija board. Okay.
Never.
But
We-
anyway,
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Do not want it.
yeah. So when his aunt got word of the fact that he was into Ouija boards, she actually introduced him to one. Unfortunately, his aunt then passed away, and suddenly the family started witnessing paranormal activity inside their house.
No fucking shit.
So they experienced everything from vibrations, strange noises, flying objects, and levitation. I'm not exactly sure who or what was levitating. It just said levitation. Once these events became too much, the family called upon Lutheran pastor. Okay, ready? We're gonna do this again. Lutheran pastor Luther Miles Schultz. Sorry.
Lutheran Pastor Luther.
Yes. For assistance. Schultz then arranged for the young Robbie to have a sleepover at his house so he could observe him. Creepy. Did that say pastor or priest?
I wanted to say this with your little interjection earlier, but like the amount of sex crimes within the religious community is
Outrageous.
yes.
Yeah. Like extravagant. And the fact that they swipe it under the rug so easily
I think
without
little Robbie
question.
was possessed with something else that night.
Well, yeah. I have a comment later on that kind of addresses my opinion on that.
Sorry, I just want to puke now.
Yeah. So he claimed, hey, we both had potential child abuse in our stories.
Potential?
Yeah, he claimed to have seen furniture and household items moving by themselves and recommended that the family seek help with a Catholic priest, because one diddling wasn't enough, apparently. However, there were those who did not believe that the events were true, like parapsychologist Joseph Banks Rhine. Once they reached out to the Catholic priest Edward Hughes, Robbie had to undergo multiple exorcisms. While undergoing one exorcism, the boy was able to slip his hands out of the restraints, break a bed spring out of the mattress, and wield it as a weapon.
I would too if you diddled me.
Yeah. No, this is a different guy.
Oh,
Different
sorry.
guy. But they claim that the boy actually slashed the priest's arm with the spring and caused the exorcism to be put on hold. So apparently that priest was not in it to win it.
Nope. You gotta bandage that shit up and get right back to it, man.
Yeah. I mean, just wrap a towel around it. You got a robe, right? Don't you have one of those sashes? Just wrap a sash around it and keep moving, man. Holy Ghost.
The, like, white collar that goes in the black suit.
Rip it off like a snap bracelet. Whew. All right.
I wonder what's in those. Is it a measuring tape as well?
I think it, well, a good point. No, you'd see it through the white. How big is your neck, Pastor? Oh my God, is that what they use it for? I am horrible today. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. I'm not even Catholic, but I'm doing it. Father, Son, Holy Ghost.
What is it? Spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch.
Oh, I have no idea. The family then got together and traveled to St. Louis. Two priests visited Robbie, where they supposedly witnessed the bed shaking, objects soaring through the air, and the young boy talking in a guttural voice.
Sounds like a good fucking time to me. Shit's flying.
Bodern, yeah, that's a hell of a name,
Boder.
who was one of the previously mentioned priests, was granted permission from the Archbishop to perform yet another exorcism. This exorcism was executed in the psychiatric ward at the Alexian Brothers Hospital, which was later turned into South City Hospital. If you don't have enough fucking demons, you're going to take him into a damn psych ward?
I was gonna say, are they exercising him, or are they exercising the asylum?
Yeah, exactly.
Or psych ward, whatever the fuck it is.
So later, Walter Halloran was another priest who joined in on the exorcism. Apparently it's a big party.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many are we up to now? Like 5?
I think so. 2, 4. I think we're 4.
Okay.
Walter stated that the words evil, hell, and other demonic markings showed up on the boy's body over the course of the exorcism. I mean, was this kid naked? Do they do these exorcisms naked?
I don't know, but like if he's in like hospital, he's in a gown, which he probably is then naked under.
But is this one of those you tie it in the back, your little butt's hanging out? Because if you're like laying down with
But,
the
like,
ties on your
it
back,
could be on his arms. It
Oh.
just says his body.
on his forehead.
Yeah. Evil. I think I've seen someone with a tattoo like that.
Come on, people, think. Okay, during the exorcisms, the boy actually broke the nose of one of the priests, although I'm not sure how he managed to do that, if he was restrained, unless he, again, got an arm loose or something.
Yeah.
He got out once already.
Give him the old 1-2.
Yeah, exactly. So the mattress then supposedly began to shake once again, and one of the priests claims that after the last exorcism, the boy became free of demonic presence and was able to go on to lead a normal life. Which my comments are, so you're fucking telling me that this boy went through all these traumatic events,
And then he's like,
and then he
nice.
came out normal?
I mean,
Which that alone makes me question the authenticity of this entire thing.
so, I mean, there is some cases the possessed doesn't remember the possession. Like, he might not
Yeah.
remember all of it because if he was actually possessed, once that's over, they've been in like a fog.
But yeah, I think I have seen some where they say it's almost split personality, where the one shuts off and the other one comes up. But I was always under the
Yeah.
assumption that it's kind of like you're in a glass box and you're just not in control.
Yeah, but you
Something
know
else is
everything that's
driving
going
the
on.
ship. Yeah, and you're just watching. So
But
I
then-
mean, I've never been knock on wood. I've not been possessed. Some people probably would say that I have, but newsflash, guys, that was just my alter ego. Actually, that was just me unmedicated, and I would black out and function for days without knowing what was happening. So maybe I was, although I didn't, have to get priestified.
Exercised?
Yeah, I didn't have to
Priestified?
get priest. That should be like a rap. That sounds like an 80 lyric. Where's my husband when I need him?
Priestified. If he was able to go on and lead a normal life, I feel as though he was probably in his mind in the dark as to what was going on outside of his body.
Well, that would make sense.
Because there have been those where they come out of their possession, they ask, what day is it?
Yeah, but there are some
or what
that
happened, or
they come out of it and then they sue or whatever the priest or the church because of how they were treated during the exorcism.
Yeah.
In which case they were fully aware of what was happening to them the whole time.
Yeah, but as I said, I think if he didn't know, didn't need therapy afterwards.
So you think that him not remembering and being able to lead a normal life then actually authenticates the possession as opposed to the, opposing?
I think it authenticates the fact. I think it doesn't necessarily authenticate it, but I could see where there are instances where people shut down in a time of trauma.
Yeah, true. I've been there.
So I feel as though he either shut down his brain because of he shut down to the trauma because of everything that was happening.
Disassociation.
Yeah.
I'll use a fancy word.
He disassociated, or if he was legitimately possessed, it was the kind of possession where he had zero clue what was going on.
Oh, it might have been that maybe the possession had progressed so far that maybe it starts as just a little seed and then it grows and it takes over more and more, and maybe it got to the point where it was almost like he was almost completely gone and this thing was completely him.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm picturing in my head. Does that make sense?
So I don't necessarily authenticate it, but I also think that it could be true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does add a little bit more if you look at it. That just makes sense. Skepticism.
Ooh, I like hearing the for it and the against.
Yeah.
It.
So I got a few things here. Now, granted, I do have some arguments against some of these just because you'll get there. So Thomas B. Allen wrote Possessed, the true story of an exorcism, and claimed that Robbie was simply a greatly disturbed boy with absolutely zero supernatural influence.
Could be.
But
maybe he deserved to be in that psych ward.
If that was the case, how could he possibly go on to lead a normal life?
That is very true.
So that's where I left off with that one. Author Mark, Obsesnik, I think, also had a lot to say about the possession and its authenticity. And Mark believes that the following is the truth: that the exorcism in Mount Rainier, Maryland never happened, that the boy actually lived in Cottage City, which made me think of cottage cheese.
I was getting ready to say, he lived in cottage cheese.
Most of the information about the exorcisms is just hearsay and that it was never fact-checked. And he also believes that there is an abundance of evidence saying that Father Hughes had an emotional breakdown and disappeared from the Cottage City community. My question with that would be, although I did not see when that supposedly took place, so either he could have had the emotional breakdown before and then was unable to take part in the exorcisms, or maybe it could have been that he had the mental breakdown after with, battling the spirits and all of, maybe they broke it loose out of the boy and it took him over because it was a moment of weakness or whatever. Or maybe another demon, because usually, you have the one in there that you're trying to get, but you actually draw out more to get rid of that one, I think is how that normally works. So maybe one of the other ones then had some sort of influence on him that kind of broke him.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't a full believer, and these exorcisms that took place with this boy, maybe they were legitimate, and it freaked him out to the point where he broke, because he's like, oh shit, this stuff really is real. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I got with that. Some psychiatrists say that Robbie suffered from a mental illness, But again, we're missing information. I did not see any names of any psychiatrists so that I could vet them out.
And there again, did he get treated in the psych ward and get some kind of medication, and that's why he was able to lead a normal life?
But we also don't know that he was ever admitted into the psych ward.
Okay.
It just says the exorcism took place there. We don't know if they brought him there or maybe
it was in the dungeons.
Which I do have some theories on that. I'll get opinions that kind of roll over with that. I also did not see any kind of specific mental illness that was addressed, although I would suspect it's more than likely some form of schizophrenia. That's typically the case with possessions.
Or multiple personality disorder.
Yeah.
Or now it's dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah. Which is another thing I gotta look into. I'm gonna do some of those soon, hopefully. But priests all believe that it was in fact a demonic possession. And my comments on this one kind of roll into that is it doesn't surprise me, since if they in fact did not believe that this was the case, it would make the establishment and religion look a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I know certain people that follow that religion, and they are very much against modern medicine and are more spiritual. Like they won't use birth control, they won't use antibiotics. They're like, you know, you get a paper cut, you get gangrene. It's like, well, if I die, I die. Even though you could clearly get help and survive.
They take a more holistic approach.
Yeah.
Rather than scientific approach.
So I find it hard to believe that given that factor, they would have admitted their son into a psychiatric facility because, one, they don't believe in that shit. To them, it's not mental illness. It's all spirits and blah, blah, blah. Which, let me tell you, I've been in a situation where people were trying to tell me that like it was demons I was battling and not my mental health. Well, you know what? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Because guess what, motherfucker? I got medication and now I can function like a normal human being in society, and I don't want to blow my brains out every 5 seconds. So get help on our website. There's some links down below. There's suicide prevention and domestic violence contact information. Use those, please, 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 if you need those. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Go to, you know, any of your doctors can refer you to somebody that specializes in that kind of thing if they don't believe that they are necessary. And sometimes if, you know, you do get diagnosed and the course of action that they give you to take makes matters worse or doesn't help you, do not be afraid to say something or go somewhere to get another opinion, because that's what I had to do because they misdiagnosed me at first and it was bad.
Yeah, I guess on that subject, my personal experience is don't be ashamed of it, and don't be afraid of it. I bawled my eyes out whenever I got diagnosed with depression.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I was weak, that I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
But I called my mom crying, called my brother crying, called my husband crying, because I felt like me needing help was me being weak, and it wasn't. It was me taking care of myself.
I was the same way. And honestly, the only reason that I sought out help was because of H-Man. I got to the point where, one, I got to take care of my kid. And I'm not going to be here much longer because I'm going to do something stupid if I do not get help. I'm not going to make his life worth a shit because I can't parent the way that I need to parent because I have no control. And so that's the main reason that I went and got it. But, I mean, honestly, and I say this to everybody, you know, go in, get the help, whether you see a therapist, whether it's behavioral health specialist, whether it's your regular primary care physician or whatever country you're from, whatever that shaman, I don't know, whatever they're called, where you're at. Don't be afraid to be open and honest, because you're only going to get the help that you need if you can be honest with them. If you hold back or hide, because at first I would hide stuff because I was ashamed of, like, hey, I walk down the street and want to blow everyone's face off, but I really don't want to get in trouble for saying that, which I never did, by the way. I flat out told I've probably told my therapist that I've murdered like 2,000 people in my head. And
your therapist needs a therapist.
Yeah, my therapist.
To you.
Yes, I mean, it's pretty bad, but just be open and honest. Get the help that you need, and don't be afraid. Like I said, if they put a plan into action, you try it, and you notice things aren't necessarily working well or they're getting worse, don't hesitate. They're more than happy to help you out. Just contact them. I mean, I can't stress that enough, because I can tell you right now, I've got people that know me now that still to like I'll tell them stories of my pre-med days, and not like I'm a pre-med student, I mean pre-medication because I'm crazy, but my pre-medication days, and they don't believe me. They think I'm joking. I'm like, no, this was me. Again, listener that I'm talking about, he can vouch for me. I was fucking crazy, and I'm like a totally different person.
Yeah.
So definitely go in there and get help. We might as well just roll in the rest of our little housekeeping stuff while we're at it. Again, check out the website for that little bit of information. There's social media links. You can contact us.
Merch links.
Merch link. Yeah, it's a store. Go on there. It's awesome. You can get like the t-shirts that now have our emblem on the front and a QR code on the back. So anybody that you're around can just pop a picture.
Scan our QR code.
The long sleeve shirts and the hoodies will not allow me to add the QR code, but the t-shirts do have them. Just, I am aware, for anybody who goes and looks, I am aware of that. But we do still have our goodie box with, you got a coffee cup, some stickers, magnets for our merch, and then some additional things in there just for kicks.
Yeah, if you go onto our website and go to the comment section and just say like drawing or raffle, that directly emails us from there.
Yep. Because right now we have one lonely person, and by default they're going to win unless you guys get in here.
Or you can just straight email us at theredrumpodcasters@gmail.com and put in the subject line drawing or raffle.
Yeah, most definitely. And we'll get those, and we'll be able to set those aside. There's also a link to our Patreon. We still have the $1 and $5 tiers. It's just $1 or $5 for the whole month. And
I really liked our last Patreon episode that we did. That was a lot of fun.
So I gotta go. After this, I'll talk to you about, I got some idea. Actually, you know what? Sneak peek. I might do this. I'm thinking for October, we could maybe do crimes and killers that influenced horror movies.
Okay, I'm down.
I feel like that's a pretty good topic for the ookie spooky.
Well, we've also talked about doing the...
I used your term. Did you see that? Did you hear it?
Yeah. We've also talked about doing the coinciding stories of the true crime Amityville and the spooky Amityville.
Yes.
So that's also maybe a potential episode for October as well.
But we might, in the near future, have a two-parter.
Yeah, I've got to work on that. There's so many that I can choose from because there's so many big cases. I almost kind of want to put a poll out on our Facebook to see what people want. And I have 3 in mind. Also, go on and rate and review us.
Yes, that would be a huge help. Doesn't cost you a thing except a couple minutes of your time.
If you have anything that you want us to cover or your personal stories, please email us or put it in the comment section.
Or send us a message, because I found out that apparently people can send us messages and it does not give me a notification that there is anything there until even if I open the app, there's still no notification that you exist unless I go into the messages, into the special request section, and then there you are, Jason. So sorry about that it took me a little bit to get there, but I now know that I have to manually go in and look at it. So I will definitely keep a closer eye on that. I think that pretty much got the drawing, got the merch, got the website. Boop, boop, boop.
Check.
Oh, yeah.
Check.
Oh, don't forget, it's going to be my birthday. I'm doing a special birthday episode.
Yes.
Super pumped. So feel free to go on there. I think we have 4 or 5 episodes currently on our Patreon. So you'll have access to that if you do the $5 a month tier. The $1 one and the $5 one still get you the early access and the shout out, which we haven't done a shout out in forever. So I was really kind of hoping we'd be able to do one.
Subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah, por favor. I don't know how to say please in any other language, so sorry. Please. I don't know, guys. Sorry. I'm an ignorant ass. I really don't know. But I think that's pretty much everything. So I guess until next week, take care of yourselves and
Stay strange.